We speak with the owner of Finn's in Joplin to see what their expectations are this year for a Thanksgiving rush with more COVID restrictions in place and less traveling happening this year. I'm Caitlin Shive. That's coming up.
Plus, 4-state scuba divers don't need a tropical location to have a good time. We're checking out a turkey scuba shoot in Joplin that was also helping out local shelter animals. And firefighters from Joplin and Reddings Mill switched up their chili cook-off competition and changed it into a chance to raise money for their Christmas for Kids program. Meteorologist Nick Kelly has your weather. Andy Ciateco is on sports. I'm Mike Mahoney, and this is your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, thanks as always for joining us. With pandemic restrictions affecting travel and large gatherings, Thanksgiving will take on a different look for many people this year. KOAM's Caitlin Shive spoke with a local restaurant on their expectations for next week and a service that they're seeing an increase in demand for.
Thanksgiving this year will look different for many families, like Mark Hoskins.
We're going to be just a small number compared to what we've usually had, and I'm going to have it made and bring it in, and we probably won't be going out.
The days prior to Thanksgiving and after are typically busy times for people to go out, enjoy a meal at a restaurant, and get some shopping done. But with the pandemic, that is changing.
Always in the past, it's been sort of a family tradition to have Thanksgiving around and go out to a movie on Thanksgiving night, and we won't be doing that.
As Thanksgiving gatherings downsize, orders for Thanksgiving meals from local restaurants like Finn's in Joplin are on the rise.
I always do curbside takeout for holiday meals and turkeys and hams and the whole 9 yards, which we're going to do again this year. I have noticed an increase in that, so I think that there's a lot more people planning on doing smaller get-togethers at home.
Owner Michael Clark says they normally are busy in the days leading up to Thanksgiving and afterwards as Black Friday shoppers stop by to refuel.
We already have the reservation book. It's filling up the day before, and we're starting to already get reservations for the evening after Thanksgiving where we're going to be open. And then, of course, our brunches are typically pretty busy. So it'll be exciting to see what the holiday the brunch after holiday looks like.
He says their curbside pickup option is beneficial to not only the customer enjoying a prepared meal, but also the restaurant, allowing employees to enjoy the holiday as well.
The joy that it brings to people's hearts, to be able to know that they still get a home-cooked meal and they get to do it in a safe way, that's what it's all about.
In Joplin, Caitlin Shive, KOAM News.
Calypso Scuba in Joplin offered a twist on the traditional turkey shootout today. Divers from across the 4-state area came to win some scuba gear and a turkey by throwing an underwater torpedo into the hole of a turkey cutout. Sounds tricky, right? Well, that didn't stop divers as young as 12 from giving it a shot. Calypso divers say this is a sport that just about anyone can enjoy, and starting out young isn't a bad idea.
Scuba diving is a lifetime sport. It is not physically grueling. Kids as young as 10 years old can get certified. So it's being a lifetime sport, you can have 3 generations all going out and enjoying the underwater world. Unlike on the surface where all the animals flee in terror when someone comes along, the fish don't seem to care that we're there.
It costs $15 to enter the contest, or 1 bag of pet food, all of which will be divided up and sent to Golden Paw Pet Rescue, Joplin Animal Resource Shelter, and the Carthage Humane Society. All right, it is time for first weather. Here's Nick.
All right, Mike, we had a pretty cloudy and rainy day. Not much surprise given the cold front that's stubborn to move throughout the course of the weekend so far. So given the cloud cover and the rain, which at the time of the almanac came in, resulted in about 1/3 of an inch, we only went from 48 to 55 degrees this afternoon. That was the best that we can do. And that front hasn't budged very much. It's starting to edge ever so slowly to the southeast. As long as it's still nearby, we are still keeping an eye on rain chances continuing into the late night hours. Fortunately, it will not be here for much longer. We're going to dry things out overnight. Keep things cool, though, with overnight lows around 43, but we'll dry out for your Sunday, and eventually by the afternoon, we'll start to see more sunshine return. Still a chilly day with highs around 51. I have a few more systems to track for Thanksgiving week. We'll break down what to expect coming up in a bit, Mike.
Thanks so much, Nick Kelly. With Christmas fast approaching, giving and goodwill are on the minds of many 4-staters. Today, a couple in Joplin decided to host a silent auction to help raise funds for Joplin's Shop with a Cop program. Officers will take children on a fun spending spree on December 4th, but there is a lot of local kids they are hoping to shop for this year. Area businesses pitched in to help, providing items for the auction, all with one common goal: making Christmas merrier for four-state families.
It's incredible, because again, in this anticipated unprecedented year, we didn't know what was going to happen. So just to try to have as many things as we can to get the kids helped is going to be just, tremendous. And that's what we're here for. It's all for the kids.
Items in the auction ranged from $25 to $50 in value, $500 in value, excuse me. The Joplin and Reddings Mill Fire Departments teamed up for their own fundraiser, passing out chili in exchange for donations for their Christmas for Kids program. Fire personnel from both departments set up shop in Finn's parking lot in Joplin, a convenient spot for people to stop by and get a hot cup of tasty chili on a pretty chilly day. The firefighters came up with this idea as an alternative to their annual chili cook-off contest.
This is due to COVID. What we were trying to do, we've always had the chili cook-off contest, and this year, with not being able to get everybody in the same building and stuff, we decided just to go through a drive-through and give everybody the opportunity to still stay along the theme of, chili, but just give people the opportunity where they can come out and support the cause for Christmas for Kids.
And if you missed the chili but would still like to help out with the Christmas for Kids program, just give the Joplin Fire Department a call and arrange to drop off your donation. It's now time for us to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Tonight, we recognize Neil Hudson of Parsons, Kansas. Hudson served as a chief petty officer in the Navy and he fought in Vietnam. Thank you, sir, for your bravery and your service. For more information on all our four-state heroes or to nominate your own, just log on to KOAMNewsNow.com. And we'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Plus, we are going to learn about more of the rough hurricane season in Colombia and what it is doing to the Colombian island of Providencia. Stay tuned.
We had to deal with a lot of cloud cover and rain. Surprise, surprise. Thanks to a stubborn cold front today. We just saw plenty of that from our time-lapse of indigo sky just outside of Seneca, Missouri. And as far as rain stats go, from Joplin Regional's perspective, we at least picked up almost an inch today, 92 hundredths to be precise. And at the very least, that puts us close to 2 inches for the entire month of November. 43.5 for the year, above average by about 9/10 almost. Still can't believe, though, we are still not very close to where we were last year, one of our wettest years on record, when we were pushing 60 inches of rain. Thankfully, nowhere near that with this storm system, especially in terms of heavy rainfall. But we had this system start out yesterday with cloud cover during the day, periods of light drizzle and light rain during the evening. Then it just picked up to more steady periods of light to moderate rain, even a couple of thunderstorms at times. Unlike last Saturday, though, we're very thankful we don't have to deal with any severe weather, but within this last little batch of showers and a couple of thunderstorms, we're not expecting anything too strong, and once we get into the overnight, this should be pretty much on the way out of here. The rain and the clouds, needless to say, made an impact on temperatures. Most of us this morning were mainly in the middle to upper 40s, some of our southern counties in the mid-50s. We just couldn't go anywhere. Be it noon today or during the afternoon, we just stayed pretty much steady, if not some spots closer to 50 degrees for the afternoon. We are drying out, thankfully, for tomorrow, but with some cloud cover stubborn to let go, it's going to be a bit of a slow warm-up. 43 in the morning. I'm thinking at least we'll get to 51 with at least a dry Sunday to wrap up this weekend. The Skywatch Storm Tracker, what else can you say? Except for a lot of cloud cover and plenty of rain. That again, though, the system itself, the front itself, starting to slide just to our south and east. And with an upper level wave working through the northern plains, just pushing through this last batch of light to moderate rain and a couple of thunderstorms. And you can see here on the future track, we're in the process of clearing things out. We should be dry by sunrise, but it'll be another cool start with, again, lows around 43. Mostly cloudy by lunchtime, but I think we can get some partly sunny skies, thankfully, back in here by the afternoon. So 43 in the morning, 48 by noon, afternoon highs with the light north breeze at 5 to 10 at 51. Maybe mostly clear to start Sunday evening out, but Heading into Monday, here comes our next wave with cloud cover picking up first and maybe a couple showers for Monday afternoon. But as part of our next wave, that'll be working in with, I think, the better rain chances by Tuesday. And this could be another shot for rain and thunderstorms before we dry out by Wednesday. Here's Thanksgiving Day. I'm thinking mostly sunny, highs near 60, so not looking bad. But here comes another wave right on its heels. So for Black Friday and Saturday, that is going to be another shot for rain that we'll be keeping an eye on for the rest of the holiday weekend. 51, drying out tomorrow, 52 on Monday. A good shot for widespread rain and storms on Tuesday with highs near 60. And then we'll clear out for Thanksgiving before we see more rain by Black Friday. Mike?
Well, thanks so much, Nick. And Nick, I've got a little bit of international weather news right here. Torrential rain hit the Colombian island of Providencia, the very region already devastated by Hurricane Iota. A week of heavy rains north of the country has left more than 24 people dead, hundreds more displaced, and several missing. More than 22,000 homes have also been damaged or destroyed due to floodwaters and mudslides. Local officials say that 98% of Providencia's infrastructure has been damaged. The severe weather conditions come as the region experiences a record-breaking hurricane season. Still to come, if you're thinking about traveling for Thanksgiving, the CDC and other government officials are hoping you'll think again.
Governors doubling down on a warning not to travel over Thanksgiving. In New York, I'm Alex Hogan. I'll have that story coming up.
With Thanksgiving just a few days away, the CDC is advising Americans to avoid big family gatherings that could spread the coronavirus. The recommendation comes as the United States nears 12 million COVID-19 infections nationwide. Fox News' Alex Hogan has the latest.
A stark warning right before the holidays from the CDC urging Americans not to travel to visit loved ones for Thanksgiving. That advice now being echoed by governors across the country as more states move into stricter lockdowns as COVID cases rise.
Obviously, there's no playbook for this. My top priority is to preserve our hospital capacity, our healthcare workforce.
During the surge in cases over the summer, hospitals could bring in doctors and nurses from other states to help out. Now, with nearly the whole country seeing a spike, many are now working 12-hour shifts.
We were kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and just very, very quickly, numbers really started to change.
CDC scientists believe about 40% of those infected will be asymptomatic and might not know they have the virus, but can still spread it to others. The increased concern has led to more Americans wanting to know their virus status before visiting family. Drivers at this site in Florida waited more than 2 hours to get tested.
We're gonna visit some family for the holidays. No symptoms. We're just doing it just to be cautious.
We think it's primarily due to the holiday season coming up, families visiting, and those traveling as well.
The CDC says if you do plan to gather for Thanksgiving, to keep things outdoor as much as possible and to stay 6 feet apart. In New York, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
President Trump's oldest son, Donald Trump Jr., has tested positive for the coronavirus. Trump Jr. received the positive test results earlier this week and is now quarantining in his cabin. A Trump Jr. representative said in a statement that the president's son is asymptomatic. Donald Trump Jr. is the latest in a long line of people associated with the president who have been infected by the coronavirus, including President Trump himself. A lot of people are excited about the success that's been seen from Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine, but what's the plan to get it to the masses? Fox News' Jennifer Griffin takes a look.
It's in the hands of the regulators.
The CEO of Pfizer said Friday's filing with the Food and Drug Administration will now set off a chain of events that will affect distribution of his company's vaccine. Pfizer will be ready to produce 50 million doses by the end of the year.
We will have a distribution to the public. So people that would like to get a vaccination, maybe they could go to the normal places, but they are receiving vaccines in their physician office or in pharmacy to get vaccinated.
That's where Operation Warp Speed comes in. The U.S. military has the lead in mapping how to distribute the vaccine efficiently, but will rely on private distributors like McKesson, which distributed the H1N1 vaccine. The Pfizer vaccine will require 2 doses, 21 days apart, and will require sub-zero temperatures for storage.
-70 is what's required for the Pfizer vaccine.
One company working to help with that is Thermo Fisher Scientific. It is ramping up production of its freezers for distribution centers and hospitals. And Pfizer has created pizza box-sized coolers to refrigerate the vaccine for weeks at a time. The Army general in charge of Operation Warp Speed explains how Pfizer will distribute the vaccine.
They will utilize FedEx and UPS in order to execute distribution. Simultaneously, we will ship ancillary kits, needles, syringes, alcohol wipes, and the diluent required for the vaccine to meet the vaccine at the end state facilities that we're talking about.
U.S. troops will not be distributing the vaccine, but military planes could fly to remote parts of the U.S. to help if needed. The states determine how many doses they need, but tension with the Trump administration could slow distribution. President-elect Biden says the White House's decision to block the transition could cause delays.
We don't have access to all the information that we need to get from all the various agencies.
The CDC will oversee distribution and has not yet decided who will receive the vaccine first. It will likely be frontline workers, then high-risk populations. The rest of the more than 300 million Americans who need the vaccine won't have access to it until February or March if all goes as planned. At the Pentagon, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
When we return, we'll be learning about President-elect Biden's transition plans. The president-elect may be getting stonewalled by the Trump administration, but that's not stopping him from holding his first meeting since the election with top Democrats in both the House and Senate. Details are headed your way in just 2 quick minutes. Welcome back to your News at 9. President-elect Joe Biden on his 78th birthday held his first meeting since the election with the top Democrats in the House and Senate. That meeting comes as Senator Bernie Sanders makes another bid for progressives to have a seat at the table. Fox News' Peter Ducey has more from Wilmington, Delaware.
Thanks for coming up.
Biden, Harris, Pelosi, Schumer all sat down as the world's most powerful Democrats came to Delaware.
I'm going to need you.
No Republicans attended today's meeting, and officials have no hints about which Republicans the transition says he's talking to.
He's been doing a range of calls. He has relationships, of course, that go back with people from both sides of the aisle. And if we have to read out later this afternoon, we're happy to share that with you.
During the primaries, Biden predicted that if he won, there would be a lot more reaching across the aisle.
With Donald Trump gone, all of a sudden you're going to see a lot of Republicans having what we call in Southern Delaware an altar call. They're going to see the Lord, man.
As the transition team continues hiring White House staffers, Senator Bernie Sanders has a warning telling the AP it would be, for example, enormously insulting if Biden put together a team of rivals, and there's some discussion that that's what he intends to do, which might include Republicans and conservative Democrats, but which ignored the progressive community. I think that would be very, very unfortunate. Transition officials aren't making any promises.
There will be people from diverse backgrounds, diverse experiences, and a diversity of political views, including from all sides of the Democratic Party.
Biden doesn't have access to GSA resources yet, but he still needs money, so he's emailing donors. Quote, "Without ascertainment, we need to fund the transition ourselves, and that's why we're reaching out to you today." Advisors to the transition team appear to be growing impatient.
This isn't a game, who gets to talk to whom.
The president-elect's focus is on taking the name the People's House to heart.
Me casa, you casa.
The transition team just told us the Democrats at today's meeting were in agreement. Congress should pass emergency COVID-19 relief legislation during the lame duck session before Biden takes office. They claim that they want it to be bipartisan, but Kevin McCarthy, Mitch McConnell, not here. In Wilmington, Delaware, Peter Ducey, Fox News.
To many experts, Georgia's switch to Democrat in the presidential race was not unexpected. And as Fox News' Steve Harrigan tells us, it shows how years of planning finally paid off.
After 28 years of voting Republican for president, Georgia flipped from red to blue. Part of the reason, a years-long ground game effort led by Stacey Abrams, who nearly won the governorship in 2018. Instead of targeting likely voters, Abrams and her supporters targeted people who did not usually vote, including young people and minorities, visiting potential voters 3 or 4 times, eventually registering 800,000 new voters. Now both parties gear up for 2 runoff elections January 5th that could determine control of the Senate. And once again, the focus is on the ground.
there will be more boots on the ground to engage voters than we've ever seen before. And that will include all kinds of campaigning, canvassing, door knocking.
That means going door to door during a pandemic.
We're not asking folks to maybe leave their house, but if they are willing to open their doors and talk to us through their door, and we're standing within 6 to 10 feet away, and we can at least maybe leave a flyer or something.
For Republicans, the ground game means changing the subject and recapturing what once was a Republican stronghold, the suburbs around Atlanta.
I think the ground game for Republicans right now is to stop the whining and complaining about the voter elections and really focus on strategy. I think they really have to go out into the suburbs.
For Democrats, Republicans say the ground game is a struggle against complacency.
If you're a Democratic voter in Georgia, you're pretty happy about what's happened.
Early voting for the 2 Senate runoff races begins December 14th. In Atlanta, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
Still to come, we are checking out a naval drill put on by 4 countries. You'll learn why the U.S., Australia, India, and Japan are teaming up in the Arabian Sea and what they're concerned about when we return. Check this out. The Indian Navy released a video of its joint naval exercises with the U.S., Australia, and Japan. The joint naval exercise was the second phase of the Malabar Naval Drill and a strategic convergence of the 4 countries to counter China's assertiveness in the Indo-Pacific. The first phase of the drill took place on November 3rd through the 6th in the Bay of Bengal. A new discovery was made in Italy. The country's culture ministry announced today that they found the remains of 2 men who died in the volcanic eruption which destroyed the ancient Roman city of Pompeii in 79 AD. One of the men discovered in the dig was said to be of high status, between the ages of 30 and 40. The ministry said they found traces of woolen cloak under his neck. The other man, between the ages of 18 and 23, was dressed in a tunic and had several crushed vertebrae, indicating he was most likely a slave who did heavy work. Well, stay right there. We've got a lot more news headed your way, as well as another weather update with meteorologist Nick Kelly and your KOAM Sports Report with Andy Ciateco. That's all headed your way right here on your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And still to come, Border Patrol is making more arrests at the U.S.-Mexico border, and they suspect surging coronavirus numbers are playing a role. Plus, police are on the hunt for a mall shooter in Wisconsin who sent 8 people to the hospital. Your Fox 14 News at 9 will be right back in just 2 short minutes. As coronavirus cases surge across the country, immigration also seems to be increasing. Officials have seen an uptick in attempted border crossings along the southern border with Mexico. Fox News' Lucas Tomlinson has the story.
It's another sign of the global economic devastation brought on by the coronavirus pandemic, motivating migrants to make the dangerous journey north. 69,000 arrests and detentions on the southern border with Mexico last month, a 21% spike compared to September, and the highest for any October since 2005, according to U.S. Customs and Border Protection.
They've been this way for decades and decades. First and foremost is economics. Anywhere we see worsening economic conditions, illegal immigration follows. And right now, because of COVID-19, that's exactly what we're seeing, not just in Mexico, but really the Western Hemisphere.
Twitter briefly suspended the CBP commissioner's account last month for violating its, quote, hateful conduct policy after he tweeted about the border wall. Morgan called the move un-American. CBP officials say their work on the border is crucial to preventing the spread of coronavirus inside the United States. The most recent stats show at least 1/3 of those detained each month are repeat offenders. Joe Biden has been critical of the president's immigration policies. During the last debate, Biden said it was criminal the Trump administration reportedly lost track of more than 500 parents and children after they were detained and separated at the border. On his website, Joe Biden calls the president's views misguided. Quote, his obsession with building a wall does nothing to address security challenges while costing taxpayers billions of dollars. Late last month, DHS celebrated the construction of nearly 400 miles of new border wall along the southern boundary. In Washington, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
Wisconsin police are looking for the suspect of a mall shooting where multiple people were injured on Friday. Wauwatosa police say 7 adults and 1 teen were wounded after a shooting incident at the Mayfair Mall shortly before 3 p.m. local time. Emergency units arrived on the scene and escorted the injured to a nearby hospital. The mall remains closed, and police say they believe the shooting stemmed from an altercation. We'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Stay tuned.
We had to deal with a lot of cloud cover and rain. Surprise, surprise. Thanks to a stubborn cold front today. We just saw plenty of that from our time-lapse of indigo sky just outside of Seneca, Missouri. And as far as rain stats go, from Joplin Regional's perspective, we at least picked up almost an inch today, 92 hundredths to be precise. And at the very least, that puts us close to 2 inches for the entire month of November. 43.5 for the year, above average by about 9/10 almost. Still can't believe, though, we are still not very close to where we were last year, one of our wettest years on record, when we were pushing 60 inches of rain. Thankfully, nowhere near that with this storm system, especially in terms of heavy rainfall. But we had this system start out yesterday with cloud cover during the day, periods of light drizzle and light rain during the evening. Then it just picked up to more steady periods of light to moderate rain, even a couple of thunderstorms at times. Unlike last Saturday, though, we're very thankful we don't have to deal with any severe weather, but within this last little batch of showers and a couple of thunderstorms, we're not expecting anything too strong, and once we get into the overnight, this should be pretty much on the way out of here. The rain and the clouds, needless to say, made an impact on temperatures. Most of us this morning were mainly in the middle to upper 40s, some of our southern counties in the mid-50s. We just couldn't go anywhere, be it noon today or during the afternoon. We just stayed pretty much steady, if not some spots closer to 50 degrees for the afternoon. We are drying out, thankfully, for tomorrow, but with some cloud cover stubborn to let go, it's going to be a bit of a slow warm-up. 43 in the morning. I'm thinking at least we'll get to 51 with at least a dry Sunday to wrap up this weekend. The Skywatch Storm Tracker, what else can you say? Except for a lot of cloud cover and plenty of rain. That again, though, the system itself, the front itself, starting to slide just to our south and east. And with an upper-level wave working through the northern plains, just pushing through this last batch of light to moderate rain and a couple of thunderstorms. And you can see here on the future track, we're in the process of clearing things out. We should be dry by sunrise, but it'll be another cool start with, again, lows around 43. Mostly cloudy by lunchtime, but I think we can get some partly sunny skies, thankfully, back in here by the afternoon. So 43 in the morning, 48 by noon, afternoon highs with the light north breeze at 5 to 10 at 51. Maybe mostly clear to start Sunday evening out, but heading into Monday, here comes our next wave with cloud cover picking up first and maybe a couple showers for Monday afternoon. But as part of our next wave, that'll be working in with, I think, the better rain chances by Tuesday. And this could be another shot for rain and thunderstorms before we dry out by Wednesday. Here's Thanksgiving Day. I'm thinking mostly sunny, highs near 60, so not looking bad. But here comes another wave right on its heels. So for Black Friday and Saturday, that is going to be another shot for rain that we'll be keeping an eye on for the rest of the holiday weekend. 51, drying out tomorrow, 52 on Monday. A good shot for widespread rain and storms on Tuesday with highs near 60. And then we'll clear out for Thanksgiving before we see more rain by Black Friday. Mike?
Well, thanks again, Nick, and stick around, sports fans. That's because we'll be right back with Andy Ciateco and your KOAM News at 9 Sports Report.
Last week, the Lamar Tigers claimed their 13th straight district title. Today, the Tigers are in the Class II state quarterfinals, facing Liberty Mountain View on the road. Lamar enters the day on a 7-game winning streak. The Tigers strike first. Sophomore Logan Crockett runs into the end zone. 2-point conversion puts Lamar up 8-0 in the first quarter. And then in the second half, Austin Wilkerson takes the handoff, gets through. About a 20-yard touchdown, 2-point conversion good, makes it 16-0 Lamar. Tigers not looking back. Wilkerson adds a receiving touchdown, and then in the fourth quarter, Case Tucker calls his own number for a trip to the end zone. Lamar goes on to beat Liberty 32-8 to advance to the state semifinals. Cassville hosting Buffalo in the Class III quarterfinals. Both teams are 9-2 on the year. Wildcats' first drive of the game, Jericho Ferris follows his blockers outside, then cuts back in. gets tripped up at the 14, 21-yard gain there. Just 2 plays later, Ferris finishes off, 4-yard score. Wildcats strike first. Cassville would lead 7-2 after the first. Second quarter, Wildcats up 12. Buffalo's Jamin Smith rolls to his right, hits Cameron Portis. Portis going airborne into the end zone. Gets the Bison within 5, and then right before the break, Hayden Sink with a quarterback sneak from the 1-yard line. Cassville leading 20-9 at halftime. Cassville heading to the Final Four, winning 41-16. The Webb City Cardinals are heading to the Class 5 state semifinals after beating the Lebanon Yellow Jackets 42-14 Friday night. Senior running back Devin Weathers had 16 carries for 112 yards with 3 touchdowns. The Cardinals have won 11 straight games now, and they are in familiar territory. Webb City in the semifinals for the 12th time in 13 years.
When you start getting to this point, you start thinking about where you were at the beginning of the season, and obviously you try to improve every week, and that's something we preach every day here. But just to go from where we were there, say in week 1 to where we are now, a big difference, and just proud of our kids and our coaches for staying the course and keep just continuing to work.
Pittsburgh State football wraps up its fall schedule, entering the day 1-3. The Gorillas are on the road facing West Texas A&M. The Gorillas scored 14 points in the first 2 minutes of the game and then went on to win 42-28. Bryce Murphy made 8 catches for a game-high 137 yards and 1 score. Gorillas finished the abbreviated schedule 2-2. Missouri Southern basketball is in Wichita for their second game of the shortened schedule, facing the Newman Jets. The 24th ranked Lion men are coming off a 1-point win over Central Oklahoma. Southern looking to make it back-to-back wins to start the season. Lions trailing by 1. Kyle Young buries the triple. He's just getting started though. Wide open lane here for Stan Scott. Easy lane above the rim gives Southern a 4-point lead. Then more from Young. Uses his speed to get around the defense. Caps a 10-0 Lions run. Newman back within 6, but big man Cam Martin drains the 3. He had 23 points and 11 rebounds. Martin also huge on defense. Big block there. Keeps it a 9-point game. Lead now to 11. Back to Scott. Off-balance floater gets it to fall, but Kyle Young, breakaway layup here, puts Missouri Southern up 37-21. Young had a career-high 23 points. Lions escape with the win today, 82-79. The Missouri Southern women trying to bounce back from a season-opening loss. Brooke Stauffer with the dish to Maddie Stokes. Easy bucket off the glass, 3-point lead. Lions get going in the second. Caitlin Honeycutt from behind the arc buries it. Southern up 6. More from deep. Carly Turnbull's turn. That's a 21-10 Lions lead. They're on a run. Forces the Jets for a timeout. And nobody on Newman can match up to Stokes. Another easy bucket. They led as much as 15, but that lead would go away in the second half. Neosho native Michaela Hayes bucket and Borden bucket rather. Jets get within 2. Southern loses a heartbreaker 55-51. They drop to 0-2 on the season. And today is the season opener for the Pitt State Gorillas. They are on the road taking on Central Oklahoma. Pitt State women had a tough day shooting just 23.5% from the field. The Gorilla women fall 80-50. And on the men's side, Pitt State wins by double digits 77-66. Quinton Hardrick had a game-high 23 points. That's a look at sports. Back with more news after this.
Blood centers across the country are suffering from a dangerous shortage of life-saving donations. COVID-19 has canceled blood drives and kept donors away, but now the Red Cross and other blood centers are urging Americans to make an appointment, assuring the public that blood centers are taking every precaution to keep donors safe. Fox News' Aisha Hasni has the story.
Not everybody can be a nurse or a doctor, but at least you can donate blood.
Travis Brinson is back in the saddle, donating blood at the New York Blood Center. And it couldn't come at a better time, as blood centers everywhere are facing a donation shortage. Statewide, New York's blood center needs about 8,000 more donations a month. Nationwide, America's Blood Center is reporting 22% of their 60 centers have a 1 to 2 day supply. 25% only have a 1 day supply. And it has a lot to do with the pandemic. Tens of thousands of blood drives were canceled across the country this spring. Donors no longer able to just drop by a blood drive at school or their place of worship. And some folks were simply too scared. The Red Cross now reassuring people that it is safe to donate.
We have our staff wear masks. Our staff are diligent about being socially distant. We have cleaning protocols in place. We take temperatures as people come in. We manage appointments very carefully. We control the flow. So we have adapted to the pandemic.
In some blood centers, we'll even check to see if you have COVID antibodies. Bernardo Flores is donating convalescent plasma for a third time after beating coronavirus in April.
It was a scary moment in life. It's actually incredible to have that feeling, to know that, my plasma can help up to 3 people fighting against COVID.
A small sacrifice that could save a life. That's what keeps Travis coming back, even in the middle of a pandemic.
Despite all our fears and our expectations of what might or might not happen, we should still try to help each other and go out of our way to go above and beyond.
And if you want to find the nearest place to you to donate, just head to americasblood.org or redcross.org. In New York, Aisha Hasni, Fox News.
Many Americans are heading to testing sites across the country to determine if they have COVID-19 before meeting up with family for Thanksgiving, even though the CDC says you should stay home. Over in Los Angeles, a sea of cars waited in a very long line at a drive-through COVID-19 testing site at the world-famous Dodger Stadium. The massive line stretched multiple times around the famous baseball park, and the ballpark is far from the only U.S. testing center that's being flooded with people who want to get a coronavirus test. But if you think COVID-19 testing lines are long, check out the wait at this new In-N-Out burger joint in Colorado. A brand new In-N-Out restaurant in Aurora opened up with jaw-dropping wait times lasting an astounding 14 hours. Electric road signs told customers to expect heavy traffic, and police were there to direct it. The first customer reportedly said they had been in line since Tuesday. I'm a Californian. I like In-N-Out Burger, but I would not wait 14 hours. All right, we are not done yet for your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And when we return, we are headed to Holland to check out a baby panda. I couldn't think of a more fun thing to do on a Saturday night. Stay tuned. Here's a fun story to end the show on. A zoo in the Netherlands has debuted the newest addition to their panda family. Visitors to the Ouwegaan Zoo in Holland lined up in droves to catch a glimpse of the baby panda Fan Jing, a giant panda cub. Fan Jing was born at the zoo earlier this year in May. The zoo had been closed down due to the pandemic, but they reopened on Friday. Zookeepers pleaded with visitors to maintain a safe social distance and to come back if they can't see the cub right away. Well, thanks so much for tuning in on this Saturday evening. We'll see you tomorrow for more KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And of course, stay safe out there.